I feel like this book wanted to be Inception, but unfortunately it just wasn't executed properly. Hello, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope that you are all doing well. If you are new to my channel, my name is Heather, and here at Heather's Book Review, I mainly like to read and review thrillers and mysteries, especially psychological thrillers, but I will review the occasional super hyped up fiction novel, such as Malibu Rising, which I just reviewed recently. I'll link that up here for you. But today, we are going to be talking about Survive the Night. But before I get into this, if you're new here, I do a non-spoiler book review, and then I do a book chat for those of us who have read. So if you're coming to this video and you just want to hear the thoughts because you have read the book, I will put that book chat time in the description box below, and if you just click on it, it'll skip all of the non-spoiler thoughts and stuff for you. However, I do have my ratings and stuff in this section of the video. But yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started on the non-spoiler. And I'm just gonna say, if you're not new here, you know I always say this in all my videos, but I will be looking down to the left here, referencing my notes. I do just wanna say that if you've read this book, you're either gonna really agree with me in this review, or you're gonna completely disagree with me. And that's fine, because we're all entitled to our own opinion. But I did notice it's like people either really liked this book, really hated this book. On Bookstagram, which is literally just Instagram but for books, you can follow me there. It's at Heather's Book Review. Same handle, same with my Goodreads. I'll also put those links in the description box below for you as well. Anyways, on Bookstagram, everyone was either like 2 stars or 5 stars. They really liked it. Unfortunately, I am in the latter group. I did not like this book. I did not like it. But before you dislike the video, because we have different opinions, you shouldn't do that, by the way, let me tell you why I didn't like it. Also, I will say Riley Sacre is a fantastic writer and he's a great author. Why? If you're new here, I have a newborn going on 7 weeks now. I thought I just heard him. I think he is cooing a little bit. I probably woke him with my loud voice. Anyways, Riley Sacre is a great author. Home Before Dark, bright green spine down here, amazing. I'll link that book for you in the description box below, along with Lock Every Door. Those are my 2 favorite thrillers. I swear by him. I swear by those thrillers. However, this one, not so much. So let me go ahead and just tell you what Survive the Night is about. So we have a main character named Charlie, who is a college student, and Charlie's best friend and roommate, Maddie, has recently fallen victim to the campus killer. The campus killer is someone who has been killing women around the college campus for the past couple years. And you get the sense early on in the book that Charlie feels some sort of guilt for Maddie's death, and as a reader, you find out why. But basically, our protagonist, Charlie, does not want to go to college anymore. She wants to get the heck out of Dodge, and this book takes place in 1991. That's important. So she wants to leave campus, and she doesn't have her own car. So she posts, she goes to a ride board, which back in the day was how you would hitch a ride to someone else. You kind of just go there and say, hey, I'm looking, to go here on this and this date. And she finds a guy named Josh, who super handsome guy. He's going the same way she's going. He's like, you know what? Why don't you hitch a ride with me? And she's like, sure, I need to leave here. And as they ride together, she starts to become really suspicious of him and thinks that he's the campus killer. And that's all I'm gonna say for the synopsis. If you're new here, I typically like to take a book and relate it to another book. Like if you read this, you would like this, or if you watched this movie, you would like this movie. Like I said in the beginning, it felt like it wanted to be Inception. I can't really say why, but you just will find out if you read. I'll put the description, or I'll put the a link to the book in the description box below. But I know I'm probably not about to do a good job selling it because I'm going to tell you why I didn't like it. But basically, there's nothing really for me to compare it to. However, I will say if you're a movie buff, you would like this book a lot because our main character, Charlie loves movies. She's like a huge movie buff. And you could tell that Riley Sager really put in a lot of time and effort looking into various movies, looking into various music, albums and songs. And, you know, just for reference that our main character references a lot. And I noticed the hard work he put into that piece of the book. I will say that part was phenomenal, just the different movies and characters and, you know, situations in the book that they related to that Charlie brings them, or that Charlie herself will reference in the book. So if you're someone that, you know, appreciates effort into that area of writing, then you would probably enjoy this for the main fact that there's a ton of movies and music reference. However, I think that's really the only good thing, unfortunately, that the book's got going on. Before I go ahead and talk about things that I didn't like, I will admit, the book is suspenseful. It essentially takes place in the car most of the time, which isn't my favorite. I'm not one for like, let's be in the same setting for the next 300 pages. So this is not my favorite by Sager. It's not anywhere close to my favorite. Let me tell you why. I always like to say what stood out about this book for me. What did I really enjoy about it? I'm not a huge movie buff myself, so I didn't really appreciate all of those references as much as I'm sure someone who, you know, is a movie buff would. I just felt like none of the characters really stood out for me at all. They were kind of just, you know, mediocre, really blended together. And the book felt repetitive to me, not only with the scenery, but also these roller coaster of emotions that our main character Charlie experiences. It's just the same thing over and over and over and over again. I'm gonna put my little rating scale over here for you. Typically this is how I like to tell you how I personally rated the book and how I feel about it. Unfortunately, I don't recommend this book. I always do link the books for you in the description box below. And like I said, I'm going to link my favorite 2 thrillers by Riley that had me gripped the entire time. I loved the endings of both of these. I have read another one by him called The Last Time I Lied. Didn't really like that one at all. I thought it was really boring. But yeah, unfortunately, I just don't recommend this one because it's just, I don't know. I also will say I thought it was extremely predictable, which, yeah, I think I'm in the minority for that one. But if you've read it and you're waiting for the book chat, I'm going to tell you how I kind of figured some stuff out. But yeah, guys, unfortunately, I can't really recommend this one. And that leads me into the book chat for those of us who have read. If you're here and you're like, what the heck? I need to hear why you didn't like this book. Or maybe you're here and you're like, girl, I didn't like it either. Let's see if we have the same thoughts. We're going to get chatting. But if you're new here, I would love if you could hit that subscribe button and hit that post notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new bookish related video. Okay, so if you're listening to this, that means you read the book. So the minute that Robbie, I'm really going to be looking down here in the beginning of the book, right? This is like page 40, said to Charlie, "You're special and I need you to know how special you are." As she's like leaving to go on the ride with Josh, I knew right then and there he was the campus killer. And you're probably like, how the heck? Okay, hear me out here. You're leaving your boyfriend, right? You're about to go in the car with somebody else on, a road trip, so to speak. And your boyfriend finds the time or thinks this is the time to sit here and be like, "You are so special and I just need you to know that. I need you to know that." And I'm thinking in my head, this is weird. This is weird. I mean, a normal hey, bye, call me when you get there, drive safe, I love you, blah, blah, stay safe. But him kind of saying that to her right then and there at that time, I knew he was the campus killer. There was also another clue for me. And this is what I meant if you watched the non-spoiler just a couple minutes ago. I had said that the book was predictable. This is what I meant by it, was knowing that Robbie was the campus killer. Another reason I knew was because he dissed Maddie. And I don't know, did I write it down in here exactly what he said? No, it doesn't look like I did. But I do remember the context was they were talking about Maddie and he had said something like, "Don't you just see that all she does is use you?" Or don't you just see that, you're a much better friend than she is. Right then and there, I'm like, you're dissing a recently murdered girl, let alone your girlfriend's best friend. Right then and there too, I was like, he's the campus killer, because nobody in their right mind would do that. So earlier when I made my Inception comment that this book felt like it wanted to be Inception but wasn't, I did not like the movies in Charlie's mind at all, which is basically like this entire book. I'm someone that really likes like hard, cold facts. I hate the whole like, are they dreaming? Is this real? And I do understand that's like the point of this book, right? The point is that our protagonist struggles, mentally with these movies, and also, mixing that between reality. I get it. I personally did not enjoy that, but I understand what Riley Sager was trying to do. But it just felt like this was like, is this a dream? Is this a dream within a dream? And it's just like, can we just like not mess around with any of that, because it's confusing and I don't like it. Something that I found so completely frustrating was the hip hopping and the roller coaster of emotions that I mentioned that Charlie was doing, in the sense of like, I don't trust Josh. I mean Jake. He's the campus killer. Wait, just kidding. No, he's not. I trust him. And then at one point she's like, I just feel like he knows me better than anyone knows me. Let that sink in for a second. Even if you like this book, let that sink in for a second, okay? Someone that she's known for 24 hours? 48 hours? She's gonna say, I feel like sometimes he just knows me better than anyone. You barely know each other. And you're also saying that while like every 2 seconds you're like, do I trust him? No. And then, all of a sudden he knows you. Like, I don't know. To me, I was grappling between like, is this poor writing? Is this poor character development? Like, what is going? It just felt, I don't know. It just, I didn't like it. On Instagram, I was chatting with another friend who was reading this at the same time as me. And we were like cracking up, and not in a good way, more of like a what the heck kind of way, with Marge. The whole situation with Marge was just weird. It was like the revengeful, evil grandmother like coming to strike. Like, what grandmother would want to inflict punishment and pain on their granddaughter's best friend? I just like that just right there, what I just said, it's like, really? An evil, vengeful grandmother. Also, I'm sorry, but what grieving family would treat their dead daughter's friend so poorly and basically blame her for everything? I was like, this is so messed up. I mean, all Charlie did was not walk Maddie home, right? That's all. She just was like, you know what? I'm setting a boundary. I'm leaving the situation that she didn't want to be in. And all that unfortunate stuff happens to Maddie, but yet her family's like, you're the reason that she's dead. You're the one that left her. This is your fault. And it just felt like really unrealistic, because I mean, if it was a different situation, like, Maddie was stumbling drunk, or she was like, I don't know, incoherent, she couldn't think for herself, and then, Charlie was like, I'm leaving you, it would be different. But like, they had a conversation. She was like, this is what I'm feeling comfortable with. I'm leaving. And Maddie was like, whatever, I'm staying. And then her family blames her for that. It just felt like really unrealistic to me. It felt like unrealistic, just like the Marge thing, the evil, vengeful grandmother, also felt unrealistic. Like, the whole situation with Maddie's family was just like unrealistic, and I was just reading it like, this is like the best you could come up with. I'm holding my son right now. He was a little fussy. I thought he was gonna show up on camera. But you may hear him talking. But yeah, so anyways, the ending of the book, she's married to Jake, right? The guy she stabs because she's so paranoid. That's who she ends up marrying. Cool. I will say too, with thrillers, especially like whodunit thrillers, you need to have more characters than just like 4, or else in my situation, like for someone, maybe there were other readers who were, thinking similarly to me, like, oh wow, that's a kind of a weird thing to say about Maddie and, you know, and I'm talking about Robbie. Yeah. And, you know, just like, that's kind of a weird thing to say. Like, if there were other readers who pegged him as the campus killer, like early on, you need to have more than 4 characters. We had Robbie, Jake, Charlie, and like Marge. So one of them is going to be the campus killer, unless it's like someone out of left field. And let's be honest, we all hate when authors do that. When it wasn't my favorite by Sacre, I hate to say it. I loved Home Before Dark. That was a 5-star for me, as well as Lock Every Door. But this one was just repetitive. For me, the dreams versus reality was, you know, very frustrating and just not my cup of tea. And then obviously it was predictable for me as well, in the sense that Robbie was the campus killer. So that concludes my thoughts on Survive the Night by Riley Sager. If you're new here, I would love if you could hit that subscribe button and that post notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new book related video. My son needs to be fed now, so I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, you guys.